Hey, comic book community, Longbox Love Affair here. I am out of town for Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. As always, I like to go check out my haunts because I'm in my hometown. And there have been, if any that have seen my YouTube videos from when I've traveled home over the past year, you've seen that you've heard that I've found many new comic stores that I never went to before, and actually my local comic store I always went to is not the best place for me to find stuff. In fact, it's better if I send him a list and say, "Can you find this?" Because he has his back issues, but then he has crap piled on top of them, and boxes and toys and baseball cards and things like that. And so he doesn't want me moving that. He doesn't want anyone moving that. And so if you're looking in the back issues, he'd rather you tell him what you want. And I'm like, I'd probably find so much more if you would let me look. But he won't do that. So that's kind of counterproductive in my mind and takes the fun out of it. So I haven't been there, but when I got into town, I went to three stores. Two of them were antique not antiques, but like collectibles type places. And then I went to one the other day that was not a store, it was a Craigslist haul that I found some amazing books. So I'm going to start with that one because the first book I'm going to show is quite amazing. So to set this up, preface is that I the night before, I had reached out to this Craigslist ad and said, "I'm interested in what you have. I'm probably not going to buy everything that you have because they were selling 2,500 books for roughly, gosh, maybe a dollar each, so $2,500, and I did not have $2,500 to spend on books that are probably junk. They're probably I take that back. Not junk, but books that I just don't need, and I don't have room in my home. So I'm looking for keys. I'm looking for books that I might be able to flip and see what's there. And so I got there, and he had about 8 long boxes. Inherited these books from a nephew or an uncle or something, and he knew enough about comics, and he collected comics. So it wasn't like he was an ignorant collector. And so I looked, and then I went up to him afterwards, and we were talking comics, and I said, "Here's my stack. I don't have a lot of stuff, so I don't know if you want to sell these to me or not." And I wasn't sure what the price was, but it was $21, and I said, "Okay, I'll do that." And one of the books in that stack was this. Tomb of Dracula, number 10, first appearance of Blade. It's not a perfect copy. It's got staining up here, but I never thought I'd find this book or have this. And it's a pretty crisp copy. I'm going to get it pressed and graded at some point, probably in the near future. Hashtag, I need to get this graded Monday. Uh, and yeah, I couldn't believe this. And he knew what this was. He just decided to sell it to me. So I got 21 books for 20 bucks. This was one of them. I also found my first copy of Avengers 257, the first appearance of Nebula. So if I find these cheap, I'm certainly on the lookout for them. Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers movie, not necessarily spec anymore, but it's her first appearance, and I'm a fan of the character. I always have been since Infinity Gauntlet 6, my first Infinity Gauntlet book I ever had. I'm excited to have that. This was the first book I saw, Astro City 1. I used to have this. I sold it many, many years ago. So I found 1, 2, 3, and these are all in really decent condition. Awesome Alex Ross artwork. They got some spine ticks, but not much. 4, 5, and 6. They had more, but I just opted for the first 6. And I'm probably going to sell those as a lot. I think this is the first appearance of Batwoman in out of costume. I could be wrong. I need to look that up again. I think I remember seeing that. So New 52, number 9. and then right behind it they had number 11. And so this one is definitely climbing up the ranks these days. First appearance of Batwoman in costume. When It Rains, It Pours. I haven't been able to find this book up until recently. About a month or so ago, I found this for cover price, but today I got it for $1. Superman Batman Annual number 4, right? Yep. First appearance of Batman Beyond, and it's an art germ cover, so pretty cool. Also found Venom number 1, Lethal Protector. Not a newsstand, but still a pretty cool book to have. First appearance of Apocalypse in Cameo, which is quite the cameo. Not much there, but they also had number 6. So X Factor 5 and X Factor 6. This was another cool find. The X-Men Annual 14. First appearance or cameo appearance of Gambit. I remember picking this up as a kid and not knowing it was Gambit. No one talked about it being Gambit's first appearance. And I'm reading it, it's like, that's Gambit. But is this his first appearance? Because he got introduced. No one knew about him. He was with Storm. And he's with Storm in his first appearance. So I was like, well, maybe he's... this is his second appearance. And then there was this panel where Cable recognizes Ahab, the future character. See someone you know, and it threw me for a loop. I was like, is that a key to Cable's origin? This is all me as a teenager trying to figure out who Cable was, because that was the big thing. Who is Cable? Is he a clone? Is he not? Is he the son and daughter of Jean and Scott? Turns out yes. Spoiler alert from 20 years ago. But that was always the question. And so this book added more questions than answers. So also at this Craigslist haul, I found John Romita Jr.'s artwork in X-Men, so 210. This is the Mutant Massacre. I love the storyline. And these are in really excellent condition. Awesome cover. This is a key Sabretooth battle with Wolverine. It was super hot back in the day. These were pricey books. Not so much anymore, I think, but you can still find them. Found a New Mutants number 1. There's a sticker on this. I think I can get that off, no problem. And then I also found Avengers 260. So I wonder if this is maybe the second appearance of Nebula. I could be wrong, but I thought it was a cool cover, so I picked it up. Okay, so that was Craigslist. I thought I did really well with that. And that was actually the last set of books I found. So the first set of books, so I went to a shop, and in that shop, there is a catalog of back issues that he has in a separate room. And in that room, you can't go back there. He has to go back and find the books for you. And at that point, he will, you write him on a list, and he goes and finds them, pulls out the box, and this is a trend. I don't get it. And you have to sift through them. Only he doesn't want you to look through the full box. He takes out a chunk so that you can not bend the books. And so his books are in really good condition. It's a pain in the ass. And so he's the only person there. And as people come into the shop, he's going in the back looking for books for me. He's trying to say hello to every person that comes in. He's very vigilant about if someone comes in the door, he needs to see them and say something to them. And I get that. But I also think he's paranoid. And then he also has stacks of more recent within the past 8 years that are cover price plus 50 cents for the bag that are on the main floor that you can look through. But if it's also full, you need to take a pack out and sift through them and put the pack back in of other comics. And if it's on a row lower, if you pull out the box to look at it, you need to put a chair under it. And so the box spine doesn't bend. It is a pain in the ass. So I found some good things with him over Thanksgiving when I was up here. So this time I went in hoping for the same and found some okay things, but nothing that was truly life-changing. So I find his inventory list, and it doesn't mean it's in there. It just might mean it might be outdated, and he's already sold it. But I found the books that I want. I only found like 4 or 5. I struck out. I wanted some Wonder Woman. He had a whole run of Adam Hughes Wonder Womans, but apparently there was a leak in the shop several years ago, and he lost a lot of his W's. So Watchmen, Wonder Woman, all of those were leaked on from the roof, and so he had them, but they were all warped from the rain. So that was a bummer because I would have been killer because he goes through Overstreet too. So his prices are sometimes lower, sometimes higher. But the Adam Hughes in the price guide is much lower these days. So picked up Marvel Rising Zero. It's the first appearance of a character apparently. In the main room where I found two of these. This is sort of old spec right now, but I figured I'd pick it up for cover price plus 50 cents. So first appearance of Surge. I have not seen Deadpool yet, so I don't know if that's even good spec these days. I got this in the back. He picked this one out. I was hoping it was the second print, because that seems to be going for some money. This is my second copy of this, so X-Men 205. First appearance of Hope Summers. So maybe I'll hold on to it, maybe I'll flip it. I was excited to find this. I've never seen this in the wild. Rust #1. This is ad, I think, for Spawn. One of the first ads for Spawn, or first appearance of Spawn. People keep on talking about it. It is in near mint condition. It has some. It's a black back cover, so it has some scuffing. But overall, really excited to have this in my collection. And so that's what I found there. It was okay. I spent $15 or something. And then I went to this place that is a collectibles place, and I couldn't find it. I tried finding it in November when I was up here. I gave up because it wasn't at the address. Finally called them. They answered, and I was like, "Where are you?" And they're like, "We're in the back. We're behind." So they're in a garage in the back, and there's a back parking lot. I walk in. It is a mess of a store. There are long boxes everywhere. There are toys everywhere. There's displays everywhere. They've made displays of different toys and Star Wars and Walking Dead and other comic book stuff. They're selling toys in packages. They're selling cards. They're selling clothes and records. Everything's on top of each other. And the workers and whoever else is helping this guy out are moving things outside and moving things around. And so I could only look at about 20% of the stuff because A, I didn't have a lot of time. And as it was, I spent about an hour there. And B, I had a feeling his prices were jacked. And some of the things that were priced were exorbitant. And there was plenty that was not priced. So what I did not buy in this lot is Batman New 52 #1. It was the third printing. I'm looking for the third, fourth, and fifth printings of those. So if anyone has those, let me know. This was a red cover. There's also the second printing is like an orange, I think, orangey red. But the red cover, it was what he had. No price. He looked at it. He's like, $40. And I was like, no. I was like, spine, not good. The spine had a bunch of ticks and everything like that. It was not near mint. It was not very fine. It was probably fine at the most. And he wanted to charge me $40. In the end, he wanted to charge me $30. And I said, forget it. How much for the other two? He's like, $10, $5 each. I was like, perfect. So what I got for those, that $5 each, was What If #1. This was the best of two copies he had. I've never owned this. I've never seen it. But I think it's a really cool issue to have. And I think this might be the first series. It was originally 50 cents. It's got a square spine too. So it's extra thick issue. And then the last issue that I'm going to show, and the last issue I got there, was Mr. Miracle 4. This is the first appearance of Big Barda. I've been seeing this posted on various forums, and it's really cool that this was just stuck in the box. I'm surprised he gave it to me for $5 because it said 6 here, but maybe he's not even looking at those prices. So between Blade, this has been a pretty good haul, pretty good place to be. I didn't get to my normal shops. Memorial Day weekend, things get closed. Family I'm hanging out with, it's been busy, but that's my story. So hope you've enjoyed. I'm going to get back to home very soon and continue picking things up. So thanks everyone, and I'll talk to you later. All right, bye bye.